Hi and welcome to TNT, coming to you today, well, starting at the Phuket International Airport, and probably by the time we get to the end of the program today, we'll be at Changi Airport in Singapore. Now, as it happens, I'm flying on Scoot today, Scoot Airlines, which is a discount airline, but we've put our hands in our pocket and we've scrounged enough money to fly with Scoot Plus, which is this sort of what you would call premium economy type service, sitting up at the front of the plane pretending that we're first class. So it's going to be a little bit of a disjointed program today, but I will be bringing you all the main news stories, and by the time, well, the next couple of days, we'll be in Melbourne, Australia. If you do get a chance, please press the subscribe button. That'd be much appreciated. Welcome to the program. So we start today's program with a little bit of political news, and indeed, as I've said before, the election, which is going to probably be held in May next year, the campaign is already well underway and the defection season has started. We've got a situation with the main coalition sort of starting to fall apart as MPs look for their options for the next election. And in Thailand, that pretty much means defecting to other parties that they think may bring them more possibility of being elected. That's just the way things work here. Now, from the main Palang Pracharat party, which is the main Conservative party that supports the Prime Minister, it also has got Prawit Wongsuwon, who was the caretaker Prime Minister for a month, and he's the Secretary General of the Palang Pracharat party. Well, there's many defections being discussed in the media over the past couple of days, and a lot of them will be going either to Pheu Thai, the main opposition party, or to the Bum Jai Thai party, which has got Ananthan Sharvirakul, the very popular public health minister, as its leader. So very interesting times over the next few weeks as we start to see where people are defecting, where they're going, and how the numbers will stack up for the next election. So just like that, we're now at Changi Airport in Singapore, certainly one of the best airports in the world, and I've been to a few of them, and it's always good to come back to Changi Airport. Well appointed, really designed and fitted out for passengers. You've got to like it. Interesting incident when we were leaving Phuket on the way to Singapore. And I suppose this is a bit of an indictment about modern travel, especially with discount airlines, where people will go out of their way to try and pack as much as they can into their cabin luggage and bring the biggest possible bag that they can. Now, the problem with this approach is that the airlines bet on only 60 or 70% of the people bringing a bag. That's all the room they've got in the overhead lockers. Now, what happens if 90 or even 100% of the people actually go to the trouble of bringing a bag with them, a cabin bag? Well, that's what happened on this flight. They were only about 90% loaded and people were still coming in with their bag, probably a lot of them just a little bit over the size they should have been, and the overhead luggage space was full. So it took around about an hour for them to sort out having to put the luggage that the passenger said, no, I want to bring it on the plane and I've paid for it and it's my right. And they couldn't, of course, because there was simply no space. So there was some harsh words said, and it was, well, we were sitting in seats 1A and 1B and we saw it all happen in front of our eyes. It wasn't a good look, but just one of the things that can happen with these discount airlines these days, when people will go out of their way to try and bring everything on board so they don't have to pay for checked-in luggage. This is the TNT program coming to you from Changi Airport on my way to Melbourne. In fact, when you watch this, I'll probably still be in the air or battling my way through customs and immigration in Melbourne. Hope I don't get too many questions. Thanks for watching, and please, if you do get a moment, just click that subscribe button underneath if you get a moment. Now, I just wanted to make a final comment, well, from my point of view anyway, about the CNN reporter and the cameraman and their botched coverage of the incident up in Isan last Thursday. Now, just about their visas, we have a situation where, of course, journalists want to get to a scene, a story, ASAP. I mean, that's what it's all about, getting there first, getting the story up first. And at the same time, you've got a situation where to get a proper news media, or B working visa, in Thailand, it's going to take a certain amount of time for application and then perhaps a week or so of processing. I mean, the two don't sort of quite fit together. So in most cases, journalists around the world will just arrive on tourist visas or visa-exempt situations where they can just get to work straight away, no questions asked. That all goes very well until you get caught, like these two. Now, covering the Tham Luang Cave rescue back in 2018, I was actually asked to do some coverage, which I did, but there were hundreds of international journalists who arrived immediately and made their way up to Chiang Rai. None of them had media visas or even B visas. And in fact, probably 80% of the journalists up at the Tham Luang Cave rescue were from overseas. They weren't locals. Of course, there were plenty of Thai local journalists there as well. Now, I could also just reel off in the next 5 minutes at least 20 names of journalists and writers working here in Thailand who are not properly accredited, in fact don't even have a proper work permit or B visa to do their work. Not that any of that makes excuses for these two, but I think in our comment section this matter's been discussed widely and we'll probably draw a line under that and get on to commenting about some other aspects of stories we're speaking about. You're watching TNT coming to you all the way from Changi Airport in Singapore, and thanks for watching, by the way. Now, just wanted to finish today by talking about the big APEC meeting. That's the Asia Pacific Economic Conference that's going to be held in Bangkok on November the 18th and 19th, noting that they've given holidays for the people in Bangkok and the surrounding provinces. Sorry, if you're up in Chiang Mai or Pattaya and Chonburi or down in Phuket or even Hua Hin, no holiday for you. But for Bangkok and the immediate provinces, yes, you're going to get holidays on those 2 days as they're going to try and free up the traffic as they ferry around some of the senior politicians from around the world and their entourage and advisors. Just noting that not only the Chinese President Xi Jinping will be coming, and that the President of the United States, Joe Biden, won't be coming, instead sending the Vice President Kamala Harris in his stead. But one name I noticed today was that President Vladimir Putin from Russia will be attending. Now, I read today in the Bangkok Post that they say security officials are not concerned about protests in the lead up to APEC this year. Now, with a name like Vladimir Putin coming to Bangkok, you can bet that there are going to be some sort of protests. Maybe not even by locals, but from internationals. This will be the first time he's left Russia, I think, in probably the last 4 or 5 months. I'm not sure if he's been doing much international travel. Please tell me if I got that wrong. But there's also been trouble at APEC meetings in the past. In fact, I believe there was some APEC meeting in Pattaya, some 10 years ago, and there were big protests and riots. Indeed, they had to close down the summit. I think it was a summit rather than one of the big conferences. But indeed, I think that they need to be, looking very carefully at possible protests in the lead up to this year's APEC. That's just my opinion, but with a name like President Vladimir Putin coming to Bangkok, I think there's something going to be on the cards. It's been great having you with us on this rather different TNT program coming to you from Changi Airport. Hopefully next time I speak to you I'll be somewhere in Melbourne with my feet up and a nice cool drink. Or maybe that'll be a warm mug of something because it's not going to be terribly warm down there. But thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate you watching and we'll see you next time.